Hi, my name is Marie Lee, and I am applying for the web development position to rebuild a website for your company. The first question that I have, how much HTML and CSS experience do you have, and are you fluent with HTML5 and CSS3? I first started working with HTML and CSS in 2002. When I decided I wanted to start building websites for myself. I did tutorial after tutorial on building websites, and I practiced doing my websites and building websites on my own. And from there, I did a few of the mail by order school web design classes, and from there I just decided that with those classes I could do better learning on my own. From HTML I went to XHTML, sorry about the tongue twister, and I learned XHTML fairly well to where I could where I knew the coding and the tags, and I could build a website that looked like a professional website. And from there I have went to HTML5 and CSS3, which is the new standard in web design, and I have built 2 professional websites for local companies that I went out and I spoke to them and decided what I needed. And I took what they needed and I showed them what I could do, and they were happy, and they chose me to build the websites for them. Question 2. Do you have any programming experience, and which language, and if so, which languages do you have experience with? I have worked with PHP, JavaScript, jQuery for mobile apps, and I have some knowledge of ASP.NET with C# and Visual Basic. I am not as fluent in the ASP.NET as I am with PHP or JavaScript or the jQuery, but I have a fairly well understanding of the ASP.NET with C# and Visual Basic, and I know that with time and more practice I will get even better with this. That with programming, to me, it's practice that makes perfect. You can sit down and you can learn the programming language, but until you start writing the coding and get it and having the errors and sitting down and working those errors out to where the program works, you really don't know how to code. But once you get in and you start practicing with all the different languages, that's how you learn them. It's by trial and error. You can have a book of code and decide that you want to build an application or use coding in the back end of a website, but the truth is you're gonna have mistakes, you're gonna get errors, and you have to know how to debug it, and you have to know how to fix those errors and how to find those errors for them to be fixed. Question number 3. In the following situation, how would you handle a client that wants a specific website and programming language built, and then once the layouts have all been agreed upon, contracts have all been signed, the client now starts to calling and or emailing every little while wanting changes made to the website or to the coding? How would you handle this? in this industry, that happens a lot. A client will decide that on the website they will work with you and design the layout or approve the layout that you have, and the coding, and then all of a sudden they want this changed, they want that changed. Then something else needs to be changed, or I saw something I like better by a competitor that they want to make theirs look more like the competitors. For the way that I would handle it, for the first 1 to 2, I will say for the first 2 to 3 changes, if it's not going to interfere with the deadline, I would go ahead and work the changes into the layout and into the coding, whichever. Then after that, the client's gonna have to realize that this is taking extra time for the developers and for the coders and for the designers. So I would have to sit down with the client. I would have to explain to the client that we would be happy to make any changes that you want made to your website, whether it be design, layout, or the coding. We're happy to do anything. We want you to have it your way. The only thing is once the layout and the coding has been decided upon, it takes more time for the developers to go in and change everything that needs to be changed, that you want changed. It takes time for the developers. It's going to take more time. It's going to push the deadline. Actually, the way to say that would be, it's going to push the deadline date back. The deadline, the project is not going to be able to be finished by the deadline date. And by doing so, with each change that we have to make, you're after the first 2 or 3 times, you're going to have to pay extra cost for all changes, and each time you make a change, the deadline gets further and further away. With this understanding, if the client still wants to keep making changes and he agrees to the cost adjustment and the time adjustment, then make the changes. If he doesn't agree, then he's going to have to stop making changes. That's basically the way it has to be. There has to be a stopping point somewhere. And I have found that a lot of times, if you set the client down and you tell them, you want this, this, and this, and we would be happy to do it, but there is going to be an extra charge for it, and the deadline date is going to be pushed further away than what it is now, they'll decide not to make the changes. And even if they do, the changes that they make at that time will be limited, and they probably won't want any more changes after this. So you've got to have good communication skills and talk to the client and let them know what is going on, what's going to happen, and then the two of you decide from there. Question 5. Oh, excuse me, question 4. You said that you taught yourself HTML and CSS. Why did you attend school for a bachelor's degree in this field, and why did you choose the school that you chose to attend? I actually started out wanting to build websites as a hobby, and then I found that I really wanted to learn professionally how to build the websites, how to do it the right way. And I wanted to learn the programming languages so I could build the dynamic websites that we have today instead of just plain HTML, CSS web pages. A lot of times for simple things, the simple websites are fine. But a lot of times now, they're not. And you have to have a dynamic website, especially if there's a database on the back end of the website. The reason that I chose the school that I chose to go to is because the International Academy of Design and Technology was the school that I found that had the classes and the curriculum that I wanted when I went to school. I researched a lot of schools, and I liked this one more than I liked the rest. I mean, I guess with that question, it would be a matter of opinion to the person as to what they're looking for in a school. And IEDT did meet my expectations for what I wanted and needed. Question 5. If you were given this opportunity, what do you think that you could offer to our team? I'm a very team-oriented person, and as to what I could bring to the team, I'm very detail-oriented, and as you know, a web designer developer, and I have the ability to manage large amounts of information in a fast-paced environment. I can also and will also contribute to the design process through creative high-level communications with the rest of the team. And I look forward to working for the company. I'm committed to excellence, and I'm continually striving to learn more and more in the field that I have chosen. And I feel that the position that is currently open would be a perfect fit for me, if you would think so also. I want to thank you for having me for this interview. I thank you. I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to interview me, and I hope that I will be hearing from you soon in order for us to start our new career. Thank you.